We are on the internets right now. I think we're on the internets tonight.
Yep.
We're gonna get a few people in here. We gotta talk through some Shib.
Before we do that, so I had one question.
Mhm.
So you compared it to Raven, right?
Well, I was comparing the price.
Yeah, the price to Raven. So
Like
if it
if
was
it-
at 6 cents, it'd be at 80.
Yeah, if Ravencoin was 6 cents, it would be equivalent to 80 cents right now. So that's the percentage of gain right
Pretty
now.
crazy.
So it's a pretty high gain for 180% roughly. Like if you, well, that's at 6 cents. So that frame was I had picked up a little bit of Shib at 645 Satoshi, I think it was. Or no, it wasn't Satoshi. It was 645 of a US dollar, like 0.0000645, and it's at 8,000. So it's equivalent going from 640 to 8,000, which is a pretty significant bump. 15%, $1,250 turns into 15 grand on that. So we're getting some people in here. I thought this was going to happen. 1 inch Shiba pump, 580% gains. Somebody says. So we're going to let some people get in here, and we're going to have a conversation. We'll switch over to laptop, talk through. Typically I don't talk. Coins like Shiba, or it's usually proof of work channel, but we're gonna dig into it because a lot of people are. I have been just blasted with emails, Twitter. I'm being tagged on a lot of stuff. People are trying to understand what's going on. Bitcoin's down almost 7% or so over its highs this last week at 63,000 and moving down to. Let me see here. I think we're a little low. Let's bring this up here. I don't know. There we go. Maybe some people can hear us now. Yeah, it's on fire. And so there's been a lot of we were looking at Graham's, I think it's Graham Steven, I think is his name. He has a YouTube channel, 3.48 million views or subscribers. And he talked about this a couple of weeks ago about, taking a position in Shiba, and just folks that have been part of that big community. And I have a lot of people ask questions on it. It's not mineable. It's runs on the Ethereum blockchain. It's an ERC20 token. And, it was taken that kind of hit with from Dogecoin. I mean, its premise was large community. And I wanted to go live tonight just to talk that space in general, because I've talked prior, and as we've been going through stuff with Ray to kind of get him up to speed on crypto. Ray's BBT Ray is interning and trying to understand the craziness that is the crypto space and trying to go through. And we were sitting here trying to have a conversation on, why would something like Shiba go up? What's the difference between like Bitcoin, Shiba Inu, any of these other coins that are, highly speculative, but have huge amounts of people that, it's a community type of coin. Like people, it has a strong community behind it. People, I don't want to say are, speculatively pumping hard on it, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of money being invested in it, and it has the liquidity centers. That's a hugely key thing when we talk mineable coins, stuff like Ravencoin, Ergo, Firo, these coins, VTC, it's a Vertcoin, Feathercoin, all these coins that are mineable that have been around for a long time. Why they don't get so much price action versus you get something like Shiba that gets, viral. It gets the TikTok effect. It gets, Instagrams. You see it on probably Snapchat. It's kind of like the Safe Moon crew too, that kind of, get really into it and trying to understand and delineate it. People want to know why haven't you taken a position in it and all that kind of thing. So we're going to let some folks get in here, and we're gonna talk with the community. I know that some folks will share this, and we'll get quite a few people on this stream tonight. And we're going to talk Shib. I'm interested to talking to the community on it. And it garners another large question that the younger generation getting into this, like what, obviously money matters to people. It changes livelihoods. It changes what you do. And if you see in this viral nature, if you look at something like GameStop, you look at just that kind of force projection of the retail market and the power the retail market has right now. I mean, it's pretty substantial. And you see that in something like Shib. And then when you get it as part of something like Coinbase with the liquidity center, that just supercharges it. You know, Robinhood, Webull, Coinbase, that kind of stuff gives you. Yeah, people are saying 1 inch pumped hard because of it. You know, so 1 inch is the way to get, you know, Shib if you're trying to do cross chain, through the DeFi market. So you got like Uniswap, you got these tokens that allow you to do exchanges, and you get a lot of people buying that and converting over to from 1 inch on the DeFi over to Shib. But it looks like we have some Shibs in here, man. Who I tell you what, from of who we got in here right now, you guys smack a number one if you're part of what you would consider the Shib community. I want to see what kind of depth of field we have here in the chat tonight on this community. You know, I would like to see what kind of we're looking at here. Shiba said, let's see here. What did they say? Lyrics says Shiba is like sugar, all the rush with no substance. Nice, my dude. Is this a clickbait BBT talking about Shiba? We can't have the top, can we? Says who am I? Man, you know what? This is a reaction video more than it's me talking the top on Shib. But who am I? Yes, it's not some clickbait. We got a lot of Shibs in here tonight. This is a pure. A lot of people are asking me questions. I'm getting crypto folks that have been in the space for a while asking like, hey, you know, how do we miss this? What is this? You know, it's not something I can mine. Can I mine it? I get people asking me literally on my Twitter. My DMs are open on Twitter, and people are like, hey man, can we mine this? Like, how can we mine this in some way? Is it a way to use like nice hash to mine Shib? And you know, when you see some kind of price activity like this, and we just seen this right now with 2 miners have a payout now to where you can mine, but like Ethereum, and you can get paid out in Bitcoin or Nano. So they're converting it for you and sending it to you in a different coin. And I mean, I can just see it now with this kind of press, what's going to be on CNBC tomorrow, all that kind of stuff. You can just see it that the first person that's going to allow you to mine another coin and then be paid in Shib, because you're going to get a lot of unit bias to it. Right? That's part of the allure with something like Shib, is that you get a lot of them. And that's been one of the biggest hiccups, I think, from the retail market side. And it's not a hiccup, it's just the way it is. I mean, with Bitcoin, when you're talking Satoshis and we're talking about stack and sats, right? You're like, I got 50,000 Satoshis, but it is 0.0005000, right? So that's like, oh, cool, I got 50,000 sats. But like with Shib, it's like, hey, I put $1,000 in and I got 193 million Shib. And it seems like that number bias is a big deal. Like, from your side, right? I'm gonna let you talk some. I'm talking for a little bit. Like, do you see a lot from like your generation, like on Snapchat or anything? I mean, does anybody talk in crypto?
Like in my group, no, not really. Nobody really talks about crypto that much. But if you expand out to like a little older, maybe 18, 19 years old, then it starts to expand out and people start talking about it more. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's also has a lot to just be access. So, you know, if you're younger and you don't have like under 21, it's harder because you can't get really signed up on Coinbase and all those kind of things. I mean, maybe at 18 you can get signed up on Coinbase, but like it's harder. The access isn't right there yet. And then the few kids and folks that are writing code or something may have learned how to write a smart contract and found crypto in that way. But yeah, just it's interesting to hear the scope of folks in it. I mean, the text I'm getting, I mean, you know, from older folks and everybody like, what is this Shib thing, you know? And they said the same thing about Dogecoin a couple of months ago, just to give you an idea too. Like when Elon, before he got on what was it, Saturday Night Live, and sacked the price. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. That was quite a few Shibs though when we just did that review here. So yeah, I mean, folks are talking their stacks. 350 million at 671. Somebody says they got. That would have been about $2,000, a little over $2,000. Angelo, if my math is correct, my quick math in my head, I'm like a walking computer sometimes. Let's see here. No, I got a cheat code to that because I did take a position at 645 of 1250. So that's why I know that math. I'm not gonna truth and transparency, my dudes. 11 million here at about 2,800. Somebody says it is interesting to see people's positions that they had in there at the different levels. Dogecoin rules. Doyle rules. 1.8 billion sheep. Yeah, it's funny. I would always caution people. Like, FOMO is real. The fear of missing out on this is real, and be careful. We're at all-time highs on that. And, a lot of the way the charts go, and we'll switch over to the computer here in a second, usually go parabolic, and they usually snap right back down. And what's going to happen is you're going to have a huge amount of FOMO, and then you're going to see some market signal in there, and you're going to see somebody dump hard on this group. And I feel bad for everybody right now of when that dump's coming. Now, that's not saying that it doesn't snap right back at some point, but somebody's going to dump pretty hard when it hits their number. And that's another key, mental factor, is the excitement around something that grows at this rate. Everybody's excited. Everybody's making calls. Hell, you got BBT here, us on a live stream talking about Shib when we're mainly a mining channel showing people mining stuff. And the risk is that you go a little more in and you go a little more in, and now your dollar cost average in is way over where it's probably going to fall back down to. So I would just say, just be caution. If that number, everybody has that number. If that number changes a livelihood or something that you have, or like you can pay something off or pay a student loan off or something like that, like, you as an individual need to make a decision. Like, do I hold for the moon, or do I, take care of something that, that this put me in a new position of reducing some risk? Because remember, just as quick as you got here in this environment and in this space, as young as it is, there is probably more opportunities like that. And like, it's always you're always going to get words of wisdom from my side of seeing the cycles of being in this space for a long time. So we have a lot of Shib folks in here. Most of you guys probably don't follow the channel. This channel is one of the oldest on YouTube talking crypto space, especially on mining. So this channel was built in 2013. I've been talking this stuff for a very long time. So I'm just making sure you guys are, not YOLOing and don't go mortgaging stuff and buying your Shib on Coinbase, because now you have a liquidity center. Just, it's exciting. It's fun to be part of that community. Dogecoin was the same thing. It did the same pump kind of thing. And, I feel like it's a requirement to come on and just make sure people are being rational about some of their stuff in there. All right, what's the question? We got a question from the... The question is, do you think coins like Shiba are like if it's a joke coin or if it's a meme coin, does it ruin the image of crypto? I am going to say no, actually. And I think that's going to surprise a lot of people. I think what happens is crypto as a whole gets exposure, and it's going to have like a, this is one of those things where they say no new, like there's never a bad advertisement type of thing. It's just advertisement at the end of the day. And it gets people an opinion of a state of something in that period of time. So like it gets people maybe into crypto, get some understanding, getting a crypto wallet. Hopefully they understand that most of that kind of community driven, there's nothing but like just trying to pump a coin to be, what's the point of Shib if not to make people wealthy type of thing. And if that's the only function it's doing, which is a great function, but the risk is that that the majority is going to get dumped on by somebody that had a pretty large stack, right? Like somebody's sitting on there and they're seeing the same numbers you guys are. And you're like, I got in at $1,000. And man, that $1,000 worth 15 grand right now. That's a big deal. There's another person there that's like, I got in at 800. And that 800 is worth about 4 million right now. And then they're going to go sell, 4 million. Right. So like, and that 4 million is going to hit that market order at who cares price. Right. And it's going to drive down the it's going to immediately look at that liquidity and just start eating through it. And then a bot's going to go off and say, here's the time, boys. Boom. And then it just starts to keep going down. Right. And then you have a tall candle going up and you're going to have a tall candle going straight back down. And that's part of the risk. So like, that's going to be their first exposure to it. But it got them exposure to into crypto and got them maybe to get a wallet, maybe get a Coinbase account, and then take a more researched approach at other alternatives that are providing other utility or value into the space. And maybe they take a hedged approach across multiple coins. Maybe they say, you know what, I'm not going to take a chance on coins. I'm going to start mining and just being part of it or I hedge some of my risk onto hardware. So I think that, Shiba, and this is the same thing. I'm very consistent on that kind of delivery with discussing this when it comes to, we used to mine Dogecoin when it first came out, 2014. So the December of 2013 into 2014, you had Dogecoin, right? And when Dogecoin released, it came out as the joke, right? And it still didn't deter people from mining it. It was a network, and when you came to around March, February of that time, or February through like March, it got a lot of momentum, a lot of big community behind it. And I made a video back then, 2014. I said, it isn't about necessarily the utility or the network at that moment of time. It is the other ancillary piece of the community network. And the fact that people were trying to do good with it. They put the Jamaican bobsled team as a meme and a joke to the Olympics. They paid for a NASCAR with it, and it just had a whole bunch of people donating it. And I can see something like a Shib community move into something like that to where it gets enough liquidity, it finds a floor, it sets out there for a little bit, and then people are looking at a little more revenue that they have. And now they're being a lot more generous because it was a tall win. It was a strong win for one night that set a floor that now it sits at. The floor like Dogecoin setting at 20 cents. At the beginning of the year, Dogecoin was like a penny or less, right? So, and it's sitting at 20 cents, and it creates a floor for people to be able to do other things. There's a lot of good that comes from that community, people donating, taking care of each other, because that's what happens when you get a large community together behind something. There is a lot of good that comes from that. So yeah, crypto, shit coins, whatever you want to call them. Any exposure that gets you into the space educates you in some way, sometimes through pain. If you don't have pain and some of it, you're not going to learn to like, nah, I don't want to do that again. But it's going to be exposure to it. And that's why like somebody like us, we're alive. Like we were talking about doing another recording tonight for a video that'll be coming out tomorrow. And I'm like, you know what? We should probably go live tonight. I mean, Sheeb's on fire. People are texting me. It's all over Twitter. We should go live and just have this conversation with people. I haven't even looked at the price yet. I mean, like we got online. Is it still flat or is it right at 8,000? It leveled off. Trying to get logged back in here. We can switch over. No pain, no gains, says Speedy. That's right, my dudes. Yep, another question coming from YouTube. What do we got? So the question was thoughts on RTM. I don't know RTM. Don't know the acronym. Don't know. And are we offering co-location? We're working to offer co-location. Yes. So the team is working on a container build out. We're looking at the specifications of what that would look like and offer some co-location. There's some complexities with co-location of GPUs. And we'll get into that as we start to peel that back with you guys with regards to what the specifications will be required. So it'll probably just be the GPUs that you're co-locating, because we'll have to format around a particular set of cases that fit within a container type of thing. But it, you know, as we're ironing that out to look at the specifications, you know, you guys will hear more. It's not going to be this year. I'm going to tell you that right now. We can't even get, no matter if you have money or not in this space, like right now, it's almost impossible to source the gear and requirement right now. We're literally looking at this every day and trying to find containers, trying to find people that can deliver within 4 weeks, that type of thing. And it's like everybody's out in 22. And we're getting into that, like as you get into November, you get into a lot of like holidays and people taking off, which they should spend time with their family and stuff. So more to come on that. Reportium is the RTM. Yeah, I'm not tracking it. We'll add it to the list. Don't know much about it. You had one more? Isn't a Shib an ETH token? Yes, it's a ERC20. Yeah, is that the other one that you had there? Yeah. Okay, there we go. Yep. Yeah, it's the CPU mining. I haven't really done much with the CPU since Monero. Just we're not set up for CPU mining here. Like we had a couple boxes I did some CPU testing with, but you know, I haven't looked into it. I mean, we're mostly Celeron setups there. So a large Shiba crew here. The chat has slowed down. Are we in slow mode? I don't think we're in slow mode, right? Yeah. You can get containers from Miami and dielectric fluid from Gary cheap, says Angelo. Yeah, so containers aren't the problem. The build out of the container, be it like if you're talking power systems and PDUs that are custom, that are made to take 150 amp per rack, that stuff's on all back order, and transformers are on back order. Like transformers these days for that, the size that you would need for a container, a 1.3 megawatt container, are about $110,000. They used to be about 60. So that's pretty nuts. Am I holding any sheep? No, I don't. I had some, and I had an out. I was showing Ray that's what started this. We had about some at 645, and I had I was out at 1250, something like that. So it was like a double. It was a quick double and out, and we were looking at it. So I put 1250 in early September maybe, and so $1,250, and it doubled. And I just, it was an in, and then I had an auto sell out, and it auto sold at double. So it was not I mean, in typical trading, that's phenomenal. But like in Shib, it was nuts. Shib is unstoppable, says TPS. Yeah, so it is. It definitely can get wrecked pretty quick when you have a well coming there and dump. But like, is it in the long term? I don't know. It has a pretty large community behind it. But so did Doge, and Doge hasn't moved that much either. But you know, here's a question for you guys. Type a 2 in chat if you are a pre-Doge person that now you're a Sheep person. You've converted essentially, as you've switched over. This is a poll. We need to find a good live poll, like a strawman poll, and we can see. There is straw polls. I know. I used to use them on my old stream. I want to see. And I mean, you could take it for a grain of salt. People can game the hell out of these things, but it is interesting. 0, 2. I like that. I like the first answer is, yeah, no, bro. Like, no, not in. I'm going to consider 1 as still a Doge. 2. I like the honesty on the zeros. Like, so many people in a chat is usually like, no, bro. Like I had a huge win. You know, like everybody's always like a lot of 2s, man. It's kind of a mix. I mean, there's a 1 and 2. Some people are still in Doge a little. Yeah, what's the other question? Have a chop talked about Shiba swap? I have not, and I'm assuming that's like a swap system like Uniswap or anything. I would be careful. So I'm careful. I'm careful on the exchange side because what happens is on these automatic market maker token setups, like if you're talking 1inch or any of the other DeFi stuff, is you got to be careful using some of those if there's not a lot of understanding on it, because you will take a position. You will come out of something like wrapped Ethereum. You will come out of another token. You will come into, let's say, this sheep thing, and I don't know anything about it yet, but you could come into that and you're exchanging for a value. Let's say you do a big amount, and then that value in that token exchange immediately drops, right? So let's say you one token's worth $10, and you come into this other token that's worth $5, and so you got half, or you double the amount that you're buying, right? So you went from $10 to $5, you get 2,000 of these tokens when you had 1,000 of the other ones, and then that token goes from $5 to zero, or $5 to 10 cents, and now you're like, well, I still got 2,000 tokens, but they're worth 10 cents each, not $5. So that's what happens when you get rugged. And that's the stuff that you got to be careful with when you're doing any kind of automatic market makers and stuff. And you're paying fees in and out of, Ethereum, you're paying high fees on that conversion. It's part of the risk. Pancake swap is, okay. 1inch, okay. 1inch had some issues. And then, you got some other. James says, sitting on 5 million Shib. I hear you, my dude. You did that old $10 buy a couple months ago. Yeah, $10. I think it was $10 could buy you 5 million, like less than $10. And that's part of it is people, taking, I want $1 million of something, and then you're seeing that in your Coinbase wallet. It's like, I got $1 million Shib. It ain't worth much. Now it is. Now it's a little bit better.
Yeah,
they're going for that penny. Cryptoholic says, what's up, Bits? This Trippin says, should I run 220 or 347 from my pole? I think it comes down to if you're stepping down. If you come into your property, like let's say 480V, and you're dropping it down, you're gonna have to transform it. It's gonna convert that down. 347, I don't know too much about. I would say come in with 220 unless you want to have some other kind of transformer that's having to, convert you over. Why I'm not using the Mac tonight? I do have a Mac. I just don't have the Mac here. This is the big boy Alienware. This is let's switch over while we're at it. It's a good segue to a laptop. So I was gonna bring up Excel because I thought that would be fun. But my dudes rolling. This is the big boy laptop. i9 10900K. I could probably do some Raporium on this thing. And this thing's got a 2080 Super in it, laptop. This thing's a baller. For the people that are wondering. What was the other question? We got 300 people on tonight. Do you think she would have to pass 1 cent? So to go to 1 cent, it would have to go at 4 more positions, which would be like 10,000x. Let's see here. Let's go back to the laptop. So let's take a look ski on where things are at. So Shib right now, let's refresh this. Shib right now is setting at 81 and 86. Is that right? Let's refreshing. 78.44, so it's dropped a little. So for 1 cent, it has to move what? 1, 2, 3 positions. So several 1,000% increase. That's quite a bit. So just take where it's at right now and add 3 more zeros. So you're talking 30 trillion. $30 trillion. That's right, I think. Or no, 3 trillion. Be 3 trillion. Yeah. 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. Nope, 30 trillion. Yeah, 30 trillion. No, I don't think it's going to hit a penny. like anytime soon. If it hits a penny, then we're beyond hyperinflation, my dudes. Yeah, it's so it's on pace to where if you added a 0, it would be number 3 coin. So if it went up, yeah, if it added a 0 to its current position right now, you'd be below it here. I usually have to scroll down for Shib. It's right here. Yeah, I mean you're talking a lot more money there, by like literally an order of magnitude. Could it get in the top 10? That's the next question. I mean, it's only $1 billion. It's only a couple $100 million away. It's about to knock off Doge. You know, these are milestones. So here's the sell thing. You know, I'm gonna go back to the sell discussion. What is the trigger point for somebody to drop the hammer on everybody? And is it a milestone thing? Is it a let's see if we can break a Doge and get in the top 10, and then somebody comes in there and just hammers down, and you know they're out. They're punching out $100 million, drops all the liquidity on one exchange, and you have a quick buy. You have two opportunities there. You have a buy opportunity that you could have a setting resting order at like half of where it's at right now, 4,000 Shib. And if somebody comes in there and just dumps hard, very quickly, it's going to dump down. It's going to fill your market order. And then it might bounce back up to 6,000. You know, could that happen? It's happened. It happened on Litecoin recently. It's happened on, it happened on Bitcoin. I actually caught some of that flash crash. If everybody was following me on Twitter, I had buy orders out on FTX where we had buy orders all the way down to 42,000, and it was sitting at 61. And then somebody fat fingered, I think, $1,100 market sell on Bitcoin and drove that price down to 46,000. And it filled all of our orders that we had standing from 52,000, 50,000. I had a market order at 47,000. All those orders filled in. It was like 2 Bitcoin a piece. Boom, 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 boom. And that could happen with Shib, where somebody comes in here and dumps hard on it. And now you got a quick win. If this is where the floor ends up getting rested at, you know, like let's say it goes and somebody dumps on it and it comes back down to 6,000, 4,000, and then it comes back up to 6, and 6 is the new floor. Then you might be able to catch a quick win there, right? I mean, again, this is all just mechanical information. This is not financial advice at anything. This is, you know, I'm not a financial advisor. I do watch the market like anybody else, but do your own research. Just look, if this is a Shib community looking that they think they're FOMOing in, you're at all-time highs. What's the quote around all-time highs? There's never a better time to sell than all-time high, because it's never been that high. Fear of missing out is, oh my God, it's way up. I've missed out. Maybe I should take a position. And then that's where we establish bag holder. So just proceed with caution, my dudes. And if you're in it already and you're up, you know, it's a personal decision. You know, like, is it your time out? What's your take on Ravencoin? Says Ben Mage. What's that? Oh, what's my take on Ravencoin? I have a lot of stuff on Ravencoin. I'm not going to spend too much time on Ravencoin tonight on here. But I have a pretty elaborate discussion points on Raven. We mine Ravencoin. We're a holder of Ravencoin. Literally, I have a plate that is hodl Raven. So is that BBT Ray, says Latrell.
I said, who is the guy next to him? And then he said it's BBT.
Yeah, he's the guy that's super quiet. That's not saying anything. It's a bit. So Ray's the BBT intern. So Ray is here taking it all in. And as you know, if anybody asks questions or something, Ray will try to answer his side of it. Like, but Ray's learning. We're going through and trying to teach Ray a lot of the stuff around crypto and how to do the builds. One of the things that I wanted to try to do from some of the services we're opening and providing in this space when it comes to mining is helping educate people to be able to be, operators, miners, and help large farms maybe get into a farm themselves at some point, and Ray's interning with us to learn the ropes of how you operate in this space. So that's why he's, right now just a little quiet. He's kind of taking it all in, getting him some camera time. That's what it is. Cryptoholic says, wow, but I've been watching you in the beginning of the Ravencoin. Yes. So yeah, anybody that's been in Ravencoin, Ravencoin came out in early 2018, and I think January 27th, 26th, somewhere around there, I did a live stream on it and got people into mining Ravencoin, how to mine it, that kind of thing. So yeah, I've been in Raven since the beginning. Never crossed the streams, says Matt James Ray. I don't even know where to go with that, my dude. Ghostbusters. Ray Mike is low. He just doesn't talk very loud.
Yeah, I talk very quiet. It's not low. I'm sorry.
He's getting used to it. Yes, your God.
That's a
the God since May. So when's let's hope the Ravencoin halving, the ETH 2.0 profitability. Yeah, so that's the other thing. This is a Shibu stream, so I'm kind of trying to keep it on the Shibu discussion point. But yes, Ravencoin does have a halving coming up in January. It will go from 5,000 coins to 2,500 coins every minute. Wait, people, yeah.
I can't really speak too much on it, but I'd say that it's definitely, I'd say it's good for crypto, because the same thing happened with Dogecoin when it had its really big spike
Run up,
especially for high school. I know a couple high school kids that got into Dogecoin their senior year, and then they made a lot of money, and then when they did that, they told all their buddies and stuff, and then it definitely allows more people to get into crypto. They might lose their money getting in that late, but then it gets them into that crypto space, and it gives them that opportunity. And then, from that further experience, they can have more crypto experience with that. So
yeah,
I think it's definitely good for the crypto space that it's happening. But
well, yeah, and one of the things that we talk about quite a bit, especially the younger generation getting into crypto and stuff, is this is a generation that's like click loot, man. Like we played games quick, an entire culture around earning badges and just having everything online and quick, and even talking finances, even with my younger kid, which Ray's not my kid. Everybody always says Ray's my kid. Ray is not my child. But even talking to some of the younger kids, and my oldest is 14, and talking to them about understanding on like how banking processes go. And when you look at the way a bank works right now, and like how long it takes for things to happen, if you get a wire and it takes like 3 days, and there's all of this paperwork, and their perspective is like, hey man, like if I can make a transaction on Steam and be an entrepreneur and it's quick, like why would I use this old system? Why hasn't it been updated? What's the legacy issues with that? So, that there is that. And I think that the younger generation in general is going to see this and they're just like, this is the way it's going to be. Like, make this stuff around this. It's quick. It's on my phone. It's accessible. I have, an ability to quick flip stuff. It's the space in general. It's the Venmo Cash App. Yeah.
I definitely agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Being on the younger generation side.
Oh, the people are asking like details on like how she works. I have no idea. So, we can look into it. Shib is, from my understandings, are already produced, and there is an entire burn mechanism that's part of it. This is more of like watching price discovery tonight. If people actually want to know how Shib works, we can build a video around it. But I would want to tell you accurately and understand what it is. I mean, what I would say is you have some early people in Shib. There's an address that's been floating around Twitter today that shows, this is one of the cool things about having cryptocurrencies in general, is that you have transparency at least to where the tokens are at. You may not know who it is, but you do know where it is. And that's a big distinction compared to legacy finance, legacy derivative markets, securities, all that kind of stuff, where it's like, oh, it's behind some black box and you can't see anything. With Shib, you can see one address has $5.7 billion worth of Shib in it, that they spent like what, $3,000. I think it was the $3,000 or $6,000. And it turned into now what would be 5.7 billion. They have about a 0.3 of an ETH in that wallet. And I think they had their original Uniswap claim. So what we know from that, like, let's take the information we do know from that. Well, to get the Uniswap claim, I think was around November of last year. So somebody claimed that. So somebody still had access to that wallet at least in November of last year. And hasn't moved, or has any of the coins moved. So like, is that person that has now sitting on 5.7 billion going to hit that exit? I'm going to tell you right now, it wouldn't be 5.7 billion they would get from it. They would probably make about 300 million and completely kill this market, because with the market caps that you see out there are not representative of the liquidity that's out there. There's a big difference, right? There's different levels at prices of where the liquidity sets. And you can have a situation where a price will rifle up very quickly and have no depth underneath it, right? So then, like, you could go and do $1 million market sell and you will literally crash the price 20%. If you have a Bittrex account, I'll explain this with Bittrex. If you have a Bittrex account, you can go on that account and you can look at, if you click on market buy, and you could do a market sell, and then you put in an amount in there, you will see the market depth of what happens with the price. So if you went in there and said, you know what, I did well with Shib, setting on $5 million virtually, you're like, well, maybe like let's see what happens if somebody tried to do a market dump. Now, I don't think Shib's on Bittrex, but you could do this with any other token. You can see, based on its market depth, what would happen to the price. And I'll give you an example. We were doing this earlier with Feathercoin, right? Yeah. Not a huge amount of liquidity on there. I was looking at what would 1.25 Bitcoin do to this market. Well, it went up like 7%. Like if I just did a 1.25 purchase of Feathercoin. And then I was like, what happens if we add a 1 to that, to 2? Well, now it's up to like 60%. Like I would just 2.25 Bitcoin purchase market order on Feathercoin would move the market 60%. And then I think what we do, like 13 Bitcoin or something, like 13 Bitcoin just for messing around, literally would go up to all-time highs in the last 2 years. Like just one purchase, like 170%. It would be up there with Shib today of like taking on a top marketplace of, total 7-day cycle, right? 13 Bitcoin, right? It's quite a bit of money, but in the grand scheme of things, you would move that exchange up 13, up that much. So same thing with Shib. Shib has a pretty good amount of liquidity. We can look and see kind of its liquid depth. If we go into the laptop again real quick, and we'll look at this. We will come back to that 1 second. Let's go in and let's look at market. And let's take a look at, so here's your depth percentage up and down, and here's the total volume. So 34% of the volume today has been on Binance. And then Coinbase is coming in with 13%. So a lot of people say there's a Coinbase effect to it. But at the end of the day, Coinbase is only 13% of all this traffic that's on there. So while Coinbase is a large US-based liquidity center, Binance is by far on USDT Tether is most of this action. Almost $13 billion. Now, that doesn't mean that $13 billion has been exchanged in place of Shib. That is total up and down, which, some of these exchanges can be considered for wash trading or whatever. You have the same buyer and seller buying and selling and just paying like micro fees and trying to make a little bit here and there. But like when you look at the total volume, Binance by far is leading it. some of these other exchanges, and then you start getting down here on like Uniswap's activity, $130 million. I don't even see 1 inch on here. OX protocol, Shiba swap. Somebody was talking about 300 million. It's pretty low. They funny. Making funnies out here.
He said he bought 150 million 4 months ago, and he doesn't care. He's picking his color for his jet now.
He's picking his colors for his jet. Yeah, 150 million. Yeah. So I mean, you got a range of market activity there, but you can see the confidence and you can see the liquidity there, and that's just like a percentage of liquidity of the depth there. At the end of the day, if somebody comes in here and drops a $4 or $5 million sell order, you're going to move some price. If they come in there and drop $100 million sell order, you're going to see it drop probably, I would say probably 10%, 12%, even like $10-12 million sell, just because it's not that, there's not enough market depth underneath it to really show that, and we've seen that kind of thing on major tokens, like when a Vitalik, did the whole thing where he took the, the coins and moved them under, somebody else, right? And like, donated coins and said, this is part of their, their separation. I think that was Shiba. Was that Shiba? I can't remember. I think it was Shiba that he did that too. Yeah. Which coin was that? Maybe it was Shib. That gave like half of them to Vitalik. Maybe it wasn't Shib, but I thought it was Shib. Somebody, this is what they call Cunningham's law. You state something that you think is true, but it's actually probably false, and then somebody's going to correct you. Right. So we'll see that.
Before. It was Shib.
It was Shib. Yep.
Shib.
So it was like half of them, right? Yep. There it is. Big Mage says, great show, guys. Got to get up early. It was Shib, as somebody says. I like that. That's memory for you. So yeah, so I mean, Vitalik rugged him. Like, so part of this is the donation. Like, so with the things I'd be tracking, if anybody that doesn't know this channel, we've been around a long time. I usually try to do some level of due diligence on stuff. We kind of went hot live tonight just to go through some stuff with Sheep. But we're trying to track the market, see what things are going, mostly in proof of work stuff. But the things that I would have questions on personally. So Vitalik donates a whole bunch of sheep to, COVID research funds and, very good market, are very good, like nonprofit companies. The question is, did they already dump that sheep? Like, did they, cause they got to operate and they got money, and unless people are accepting in sheep, they got to convert it. So if the market depression down to 600 or whatever it went to was because they were just hard liquidating it, and now those are out in circulation, or you don't have any big risk of large amounts of sheep being dumped,
right? Then
do you have an opportunity where you have a potential higher growth of it, right? Where you could have a lot of people buying up, you have a lot of retail buying, and it starts pushing all-time highs. So that's the first question. What happened to all of Vitalik's donated coins? And did those entities liquidate them or not? And if they haven't, are they asleep right now?
Right.
And are they going to wake up tomorrow and be like, the funds are good, my dudes, and we are now funded for years. And thank you everybody for our $5 billion. We now are on to, saving millions of lives, which is great. And everybody's like, oh, darn, it didn't sell. But that was a good, at least it wasn't just some YOLO with a Learjet now has sheep painted on it and saying donated by sheeps everywhere. Thank you. And have like ice bags and just like, but that I think, that that would be one of my main questions, because that was a concentration. So it all comes back down to when you start talking millions of coins, billions of coins, who has the concentration? Who's known has a concentration? Are they going to dump on you? And then looking at any large buy patterns, looking at who's the top 50 addresses, what's their activity. Those are the things that I look at, like, right, on big coins like that. Like, who's the top addresses? Well, it's probably exchanges. Okay, check those off. Who's the top 3 or 4 that we don't know who they are? And is there local recent activity? And are those watch addresses? So the bots, so to give you guys an idea of how like the bots would work. So the bots would be looking at all these top talkers, as they call them, top addresses. And the bots are going to look at, is that address submitting a transaction? Is it hitting the memory pool? And if it is, you are going to be able to react faster than that transaction is going to process if the bot's hooked up right? It's watching the memory pool. It's looking for anything in the memory pool. And it says, oh crap, somebody's about to dump a whole bunch of money on a whole bunch of Shib on Shib on Uniswap. I see it in the Ethereum memory pool. It's about to get posted, my dudes. And they're on an exchange with a lot of Shib. They're going to sell. They're going to be like, here comes a big order on the DeFi market. So that's part of the dark forest stuff that we're talking about. Now, the things that prevent that from people having access to that is if they package that up in like an MEV package. So a miner extracted value package, they broker for their transaction not to be in the memory pool, and they broker a deal with a mining pool and say, hey bro, I don't want anybody knowing what's about to go down here. And when you win the next block, I'm going to pay for a priority position for you to include my transaction state in the chain. And I want you to do that. Now that's what we call like an off-chain transaction. So anybody that is wired up with an ability to create an off-chain transaction to then try to dump their Shib before the market's pulled out under it, because a DeFi market's slower than a CeFi market. And the CeFi markets, the bots and folks that are really tied in are going to be watching those memory pools and looking for stuff like that. So that's a whole level of meta. That's like, like if you guys are gamers and there's meta levels, and it's like, this is like tier 5 armor. Like most of us, like in the retail market space, are we're just noobs, like collecting bear asses and running down stupid side quests and trying to make our ends meet type of thing. And then you got your T5 guys walking around just rolling things, right? That's the equivalent of that in that space, right? So it's how can you participate in that space and be able to get a win when that's who you're also dealing with, right? And that's just truth in advertising. That's the back end. That's what's going on in the space. So if you're looking around and you're trying to just be a young bloke and you're trying to learn this, we're going through understanding how to read the memory pool, understanding maybe writing a script to that, and getting that telemetry. And if it's good, you can actually sell that, by the way, information on that. That's the way you get it. Can we take profit? Somebody says, screw IP 1559. All right, we got another question. We'll keep going for a little bit longer. Hopefully you guys like this stream. I'm usually good. Do I think the 6600 XT at 550 is a good investment? No. I think the 6600, we were picking those up at Micro Center. I think they're 429, and that was still kind of high. You can get them as low as 389. That's more around the rates that you should be getting for that. Somebody says bear asses for the win. So I'm not bear in that spelling. I was thinking bear as in like an MMO, like a bear.
Like a rar.
Like a rar. Yeah. Like a rar.
That's not how that's spelled.
That's not how that's spelled.
No.
That's a different type of bear ass.
Yeah. That's like
no
like clothing.
That's like bear. Yeah. Bear asses.
Yeah.
Well, everybody that's ever done a side quest, I was like, damn it, I gotta go collect some more bear asses. Like and subscribe, folks, says Matt James. That's right, my dudes. You think Shiba could grow into a mineable coin? I mean, not unless like somebody figured out how to, well, which they could figure out how to get it out of an ERC20 token, which will require everybody to lock up their tokens in some way, and then you would be reminting them in some aspect on a proof of work to mining algorithm that then would be even probably happen to add more to the supply, so it'd be going opposite. So you have tokens that produce their supply in some way, which Shib did. And I believe, yeah, since I remember the Vitalik thing where they took like half of them and locked them up with like, or a portion of it, locked it up with like Vitalik's wallet, and was trying to use that as the, surely he will not try to rug us, which we all know the story there. No, I don't think you switched Shib to something like proof of work. Look at this dude's name, villain in the game. What? You can mine Shib through. Oh, yeah, I've been playing New World like a boss. So somebody says you can mine Shib through unminable. So yeah, let me rephrase that. So there are opportunities to earn certain types of tokens through broker services, and what that means is you're mining something. You have two ways to do it. You can mine something and the pool happens to do the exchange for you. So they're, instead of paying you out in ETH, they are paying you out in Shib. Or you can set up a service like of NiceHash or somebody set up to where they would accept Shib as a payment, and then you were selling your hash rate to somebody, then you would get paid the Shib, and then they would be repointing your rig to mine whatever they wanted to mine. So there's kind of a two ways to do it. I don't know of any services short of maybe Unminable that allows you to do that. I don't know much about Unminable, but I have seen that they do allow you to kind of mine for whatever token you want. Effectively, all you're doing is they're doing the exchange for you and you're getting paid in that other token. And if you did the math on it, it might be not as good. I mean, it's questionable because ETH prices on transactions are always so high that if you're just getting paid straight in Shib, you're actually probably saving some, but you got to have it in a, a ETH wallet and that. Jaxus, I see you, Ray.
He's been hyping me up this whole time. Lots of messages.
That might be a fan, my dude.
For one.
Mining Pool Hub would do that. Not sure about for Shib. Yeah, Mining Pool Hub was like one of those ones that you could do that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a difference between broker services and then pools that will do the exchange for you. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think over time, I think the pools that do the exchange for you are going to end up getting regulated. It sucks, but I think that's what's going to happen because effectively they're money services providers without a license. They're doing a conversion. But if they're not in the U.S., like they're not going to be held by U.S. rules. ETH is charging $665 to convert. Yikes, my dude. We got a $2 super chat from, what is that, Dragoon 1269 in Minnesota. Do you think Ravencoin's price will go up with the halving? Well, I mean, if past history are any indication of what happens to coins that have their halvings, yes. Again, everything like that is a speculation, but something like Raven that has a lot of awareness on it, is a mineable coin, has some of the best opportunity to get from Ethereum. If Ethereum moves to proof of stake, then yeah, you're gonna have less coins in inflation, and typically it would go up. But ETH prices are ridiculous. Well, that's if you're trying to convert, my dude. Like honestly, like if anybody's trying to buy Shib, it's probably better just to go in with new money and like in Coinbase, or move your Ethereum into something like Coinbase. It's KYC'd. So if you're trying to do it on DeFi, I got a new tattoo, says Ray. Boycott Robinhood, somebody says. I stopped using Robinhood. We did a video a long time on it just to explain when it first came out, but I don't use it anymore. That stuff that they pulled on the retail side just ended it for me. Shiba would have to become its own blockchain. I mean, ideally, yes, it has to be. So consensus in mining consensus to form a new block. I mean, yeah, right now it's on Ethereum. It's an ERC20 token. It inherits the Ethereum blockchain. So Shib's transaction history is out there. Everybody's talking you up right now, Ray.
I hear BBT Ray t-shirts. That sounds like a
BBT
great
Ray.
idea.
You want a BBT Ray t-shirt?
That's what it said.
We'll put BBT Samantha on it. Well, it says Samantha, we're getting some new merch. Finally, we're literally going down that road, getting a new merch company. We're gonna have a whole line of different stuff for you guys. I know a lot of people want like hoodies and stuff. And we don't have anything set up to do giveaways tonight, do we? You guys like, subscribe, and share. We do have some. You want to grab one of the mugs? We're gonna do. We got like 8 to 10 mugs. Yeah, we'll autograph the mug too. Yeah, just bring one right now. Well, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up. So we'll do another live stream coming up this weekend, and we'll give away a few of these things. So we got like, let's get a close one. Like BBT Ray. BBT Ray is gonna come up there and show you guys. We're gonna give away some of these. Like, whoa, back up, back. There you go. There you go. They're nice. They're shiny. They're shiny. You got BBT mugs.
They're very good mugs. I have one of these.
Legit.
When I was not
only the best
intern, he gave me one, and it's a very good mug. So
yeah, BBT mugs. Just be tripping. So we'll give away some of those this weekend. We pay the shipping and everything. It's like you guys give me a shipping address and we send it. Somebody says nice, like that. Michael Scott says I want one.
Michael Scott.
We don't do anything with helium. I haven't covered any helium. I don't. I mean, I'm not going to speculate on helium, but does anybody have any idea on how Intel's GPUs will perform on mining? So there's a lot of speculation that they're going to unveil their lineup at CES. We are going to be at CES. I'm waiting for the hash. Right now, BBT Ray's not going to be there because he's a little young, and I just don't know if they'll let him. But I'm waiting for everybody to start like hashtagging "Let BBT Ray go." Someone says, "Give me a mug." There is some speculation that Intel is going to have it at their keynote, and I'm very interested in that. That's a third player in the space, especially if the rumors are true on HBM2. If they're going to go HBM2 or a new layer of HBM2, that will automatically make them a player in the crypto space. Like just that speed of memory is going to make it good. Just because there's so much demand on DDR6. But we'll see. We'll see if and their specifications if they can keep up. I like that there's a new player. I love it. I mean, it'd be interesting if they're also going to try to address directly on the card to try to not go down the crypto mining front. We'll see. But if you guys are not following us, you guys should be slamming that follow button. On Twitter, we do a lot of live stream stuff, a lot of update stuff. We're going to be covering. We're doing a full court press out of CES. Hashtag BBT Ray for Vegas. Hashtag
free Ray. It says free Ray on one.
This is free Ray.
BBT Ray Vegas, baby.
Let him go. You guys are going to get that trending. What wallet do we recommend for Raven? I like Exodus personally. I've always been a fan of Exodus. There's quite a few out there. But Exodus has been really good. A lot of people like KuCoin. I haven't used their wallet yet. He's a bit young for that, my dudes. The whole life ahead of him. He'll learn Vegas in a whole other way when he gets older. Shout out to BBT Jason's fun excursions in Vegas. CES. CES is the first week of January, right? It's 8th, third through the 7th. Is that right? Yeah, that's when we're going, right? 5th through the 8th. Yeah, we're going to be there for Media Day 1 and 2, and we'll be there all the way up until that Friday. So we'll be out at CES for that time.
Not that young.
Is it a moonshot? Yeah, man. What's going on is it's gotten a lot of it's been getting a lot of attention. It's been getting a lot of media attention. If you actually look up Shib, or actually if you look up Coinbase on like the iPhone app, it literally says BTC ETH Shib. Like it's in like the Coinbase app. They're like just it's the power of community is what it comes down to. Is that's what's pushing it. It's the new GameStop, yeah. Do you guys think that GPUs will ever get back to retail prices? If there ends up being a crypto winter, yes. If crypto cools down, some kind of thing happens to where we have a cooling of the market, yes. Then they'll fall back down. There'll be a lot of capitulation. There's been a lot of they can't build hardware fast enough right now. And if there is any serious cool down in the market, you know, you could get back to really cheap GPUs. Oh yeah, Latrell says $5 for the roulette table. We're gonna have to keep track of these. Luckily, they're all recorded on here, so we can see where that $5. We'll tweet it out. Latrell's $5 here. Give me a lucky number. If you said the roulette table, then you got to give me a number, my dude. No, not black or red. We put on black or red, it ends up being green, and then we're all sad. So, yeah, what's the number, Latrell? What's the number? We'll tweet it out. $5 for Latrell. Do you think Shib will crash after the pump? Well, yes. Jacob Poe, like we covered some of that before. I mean, these things, I want to say it's cliche, but what comes up does come down on crypto a little bit. It all comes back down to, are you coming to cash and then being able to go back in or coming to a stable coin. And if you play in the market, or you going long? I mean, I had done a small position in it and it was out at a double. I had already put it in there. So it was out at 1,100 on the Shib and it's at like 8,000. So, we missed that large lift. 13. Did you say 13? That wasn't him. Everybody's saying 13. Double zeros. 8 it is. You got that, Miss BBT? You remember 8?
I'll text it.
He's going to text her. BBT Ray's going to text me.
I'll text you.
Hey, don't forget Latrell's bet. 8.
For 8.
5 on 8.
I got a good question.
Which GPU did we start with? Like me, old school original? Like it was 6950s. It was on yesterday's video? Yeah, yesterday's video. Anybody hasn't watched any of our videos, yesterday's video, I did a throwback back to 2013, 2014. I threw you guys some images and videos around 2013, 2014. We had a Sponduli Tech SP31 Yukon. It was one of the first kind of major ASICs out there. And it did, I got the one GPU. I'm going to pull it up here in a second. It was given 0.5 Bitcoin a day. And so that's what's on that video. We show you guys that machine, 0.5 Bitcoin a day. That's in 20 days, it's a Bitcoin. That's what that machine used to bring in. It was about $6,000, $6,500 for that machine. It would earn about $300 a month in Bitcoin at the time. It was ROI was about 18 months on it, was the specifications at that time. So it gives you guys kind of an idea. Yep. What's the question? How could I find out somebody that would be helping with hosting his rigs is what we do? Yes. So we are working on managed services related to that and helping you guys match up with some folks. There's a few different companies out there that are building out that capability right now. And like I said before, it really comes down to it's just the cards, not so much the rigs. Sometimes the power supplies come with them, but yes, there are managed services starting up around that to help people co-host at cheaper power rates. So with 3 cents per kilowatt, 3.5 cents per kilowatt being really the kind of price to get to in this space to be competitive. That's why you would co-host with somebody. Somebody says, is 0.57 good commercial rate expanding my farm? So I'm assuming, Mike, that is an all-in cost. So if that's your hookup, that's everything, and it's blended up to 5 cents per kilowatt. That's kind of like what I'd call a market commercial rate. So that if they have a rate card and you're commercial up to a certain amount of purchasing, 0.57 is a relatively decent rate. Just make sure that you're all in. That's your hookup, your taxes, your meter, all that. What's your blended cost on that? That's about right. That means you're buying power at probably about 4 cents per kilowatt. Are you buying any GPUs today? What's your position on LHR cards? LHR cards fine. I'm fine with LHR cards, which is the light hash rate cards. They're NVIDIA based cards for people that aren't following that. Those cards are limited for like F-hash, ETC as an example. They get about 60% of what they should be getting, but they're full on for Prog POW, Firo POW, some of those other algorithms that are not inhibited by them. So, 3070 Ti's, 3080 Ti's, really good for something like Ravencoin. Let's get here. I'm gonna actually show an old card. Check this out. So that was a 7700 series GPU. I metal signed that, and we're looking at some point we're going to be doing like an NFT or something with that, and then that card will go with it. So that we're looking at doing a whole entire NFT series video. That was one of the cards I used to Bitcoin mine back in 2012 on that particular card. It was like the beginning of 2012. I actually have video that goes with that card showing it mining Bitcoin and its hash rate and all that. It's 376 mega hash at the time is what that GPU was putting out. And I having a video that shows the time and the address and all that with that card, I think is a very special thing. So we're looking at putting that together, and then whatever that NFT raises, then that would be something that we'd end up donating. Right. So it wouldn't be just a money in our coffers. We'd figure out something to donate that to. So I think that would be like a cool raise. And it's like a piece of history, right? It's a 2012 Bitcoin mining card, with video proof of what it was, and then kind of collapse that all into one package and then have a signature on that. I think that would be kind of cool. But we've been trying to find some stuff like that because we have a lot of older content out there that are historical pieces at this point in the space, because there wasn't a lot of people covering mining back then. I mean, I think it was the first person to pick up a mic on Bitcoin mining on a regular basis on YouTube. 2 for Twitch.
Coins to invest in. It's my first time investing. BTC, BBT Cash, Litecoin, or ETH.
Mm-hmm. So somebody asked, do we have any personal advice on taking a position if they had not invested in crypto in any way? And which coins? So this is not financial advice, but I would say if you're doing some research, you would definitely want to make sure that you're looking at, the top coin out there, which is Bitcoin. It's the basis of everything when it comes to the reason why all these things are here. And it's not just that, it's also orders of magnitude when it comes to involvement, infrastructure, proof of work. And the reason why this channel is a very heavy proof of work laden channel is that, you are compensated because of your work. You are a participant in the network, and you are providing hash rate to, a network that provides security to it. The more people that do it, the stronger and more secure something is. There's no single point of failure. Bitcoin, by comparison to everything else, is, on another level, right? You have a huge amount of power being used, a huge amount of capital investment, 13, 14 public companies that are in this and expanding. When you compare that to something like Ethereum mining, which is a strong second on the proof of work standpoint, it's not in the same parsec on the amount of infrastructure that it takes for that particular network. And I mean, it's Bitcoin's on a whole other level. So it's really reinforced by all that capital investment and the integration into the financial system when it comes into Bitcoin ETF and all the functions. So there's no question at all on Bitcoin when it comes into that of taking obviously a dollar cost. I've always went dollar cost average approach. I've told that to everybody. Just because you can't really time the market and you don't want all your capital, even if it's way down and you're like, I'm in. And then you're like, oh my God, it's $1,000 less next week and all my cash is gone. So like having a positional over time and having a more long-term plan of when it maybe it makes sense for you. And you know, there's this theme that goes out when it comes to Bitcoin stuff where people are like, when you're there, you won't have to cash it. And what that means is that you'll get to a point that you would have enough to where you can borrow against it. It gives you borrowing power. It's collateralized borrowing power to where you don't need to exit the position. You can just borrow against that position for the small amount of money that you would need out of it. And you're not then selling your coins. So you get into a concept of where nobody sells it, but people borrow against it because it has a value in the system. So then you're not, that less of exchange there now makes it more of an anchor point for people to really have institutional wealth and value and generational wealth in it. So that's Bitcoin. And then you have other things that are not necessarily like long stores of value that have a lot more utility, and they gain and thrive in a lot of that utility. I mean, Ethereum, I think, has proved itself from a utility point. This whole conversation tonight is on Shib, and Shib is an ERC20 token on the Ethereum network. And love or hate Ethereum's transaction fees, it is also powering almost all these major coins. Like if you take the collective whole of Ethereum and its ecosystem, it's huge. That is its utility, even if it's dysfunctional. And it costs a lot to use. That's its utility. So that, I think, that just talked to your second position, right? And that's why. And then you got your speculative hedges, which are the other utility type of tokens when you're talking Avalanche, Polkadot, Cardano, Atom on the Cosmos network. You look at things like that are other platforms, and you look at, okay, they have the same kind of maybe movement and functionality, but they're trading that decentralization for more of a semi-centralized proof of stake delegation type of validation services. I don't think they ever compete with something like a Bitcoin in the grand scheme of strength and size and diversity and the strength of that no single point of failure is the real key one. Because at the end of the day, any kind of proof of stake kind of system, because of the way it has to deter bad actors on it, you make a relationship with the network in a different way that allows them to strip from your position. So like if you're a bad actor, they can take away from your coins or your position. That means you have a different relationship than if you had with Bitcoin. So that's just, it's something that I think will be figured out over time maybe. But like bottom line, if everything on ETH2 ends up on because of the way the validators, and you don't want to get your stake slashed, you end up running it on Amazon, then everything's on Amazon AWS cloud. It's on Azure cloud. It's on a GCP cloud. It's on large data centers. That's where it ends up being. Your Ethereum ends up running on a data center that can overnight be shut down. And then it would just cause a lot of disruption. It wouldn't shut it off and completely shut it down, but it would definitely hamper it. So having that independent decentralization is critical to the coins. And I think ultimately ETH will figure it out. They'll figure out like, hey, maybe we end up having two coins. We have Beacon with 2.0 and we have this ETH1 thing that it's a complex machine, and we're not going to, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, and maybe they go down that road. Who knows? We'll see. They're trying like hell to merge them, but we'll see. Woof Paper. What's the Woof Paper? Read the Woof Paper. It has some more utility. When is the pump and dump going to end? If I had that, that would be like a crystal ball. And I would say I would say go back and watch some of what we just were talking about. I think that there's some signal you can watch. Look at large addresses and see if they're active, and then see if you can put a notice on any kind of major transactions in the dexes, and you're going to catch it right before it happens, provided they don't go in through the dark forest through a paid position on submit it through an MEV package, which is a miner extracted value, and having some miner out there on some pool, and the pool ends up processing the change offline, and then they just include it in the next block that they win, and then the swap happens like instantly as far as that's concerned, and then the CFI can't keep up with it. I don't know Trust Wallet. I don't like anybody that puts trust in their name, though.
I've heard about it a couple times.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about Trust
Yeah,
Wallet.
they run a lot of ads.
They run ads, yeah. No, man, I have no problem with ads, man. You got to show your stuff. You just got to, it is what it is. Woof Paper is Shiba's white paper. I think I've read Shiba's white paper, and I like their distribution and their burn and that I get it. But that's all, anything that had founder rewards and stuff like that, I've never really tied into. Use any, I think we're going to wrap this up here pretty soon. We're going to do it in 9 minutes, hour and a half. We have 300 people watching. Yeah, solid 300. Any renewable energies of power farm? No, I know we have a co-op power distribution, so it has some of its wind, solar, and a mix of hydro and clean coal. So I mean, we got 4 different power sources I know at our farm. What's Jeff Bezos got to do with Shiba Inu? Well, Jeff Bezos has the company that Infura and a lot of the Oracle services that run Ethereum circumstantially run on his company's hardware. And we've seen that when Infura has went down and nobody can get price targets, or like certain wallets start shutting down and certain things stop working. It's not a dig on CFI or centralized services. We all rely on them. We all do. It is what it is. However, that's the key distinction on like Ethereum proof of work or Firo proof of work or Ravencoin proof of work. Is that at least a part of the layer in the node structure is decentralized. Like you're not running all that stuff on cloud. There are nodes that run on cloud, but there are a lot of other stuff that isn't. And when you start to rely on the consistency of a centralized service, which is fine, and you're paying for that service to be the best that you can possibly get, you give up some of that chance of somebody not, shutting it down on you or something happening existential that ends up taking you down.
You wearing a Cubs hat?
Cubs hat? No, this is Compass, my dudes.
Okay.
Compass mining, Cubs.
What's Compass?
What's Compass? Compass Mining is the sponsor of this video.
Oh.
Right up there. I like that. That's a smooth delivery. What's Compass? Tell us who Compass is. Yeah, Compass is a premier sponsor of Bits Be Trippin'. Anybody that's trying to mine Bitcoin at home, they have solutions for that. It was almost convincing, right? It was good stuff. Good stuff. All right, my dudes. I think we're gonna wrap this one up. It was fun. It was real. It was real fun. Real fun. It was different. Like I don't usually this was not a Bits Be Drinking. Those are only on the weekends. We haven't had one in a while. Here's one. Type 1 in the chat if you guys want us to I'll do a BBT Bits Be Drinking mining build. We haven't done one in a while. We need to get some more. It'll be like a long 3-hour stream where I'm building a mining rig and just shooting the crap with you guys. We haven't done one in a long time. I think it would be fun. It's a good time. Margarita or wine? It's got to be tequila. Don't do any more videos on Shiba. It's a one-time thing, man. One-time thing. Oh, look at all the ones. They're making it rain. A BBT build rig. We'll do a couple of these giveaways. 420. No, my dude, we want to finish that build rig. I don't think that's gonna work. Bits be trash mining rig build. Nice. No, BBT Ray cannot
No, I
drink.
can't
We'll get
drink.
him juice.
Yeah, apple juice.
Apple juice.
I'll make sure he's still building the rig by the end of the night.
Ray may be the one building the rig by the end of the night, but yeah. Oh yeah, tequila all day, so he says. Awesome. And break out the Bud Select. Latrell like that Bud Select example on that last video. Yeah, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, sharing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. We will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks guys on Twitch too. They were out there representing. That was good times. And I will catch you guys on the next one. That's the wrong mouse. Here I am.